So Tunisia's central bank has kept its key interest rate unchanged at 4.25%. The regulator last cut its main interest rate, that was in October 2015, from 4.75%. Now, Italy has set up a fund to help keep migrants from boarding flimsy and often deadly rubber boats bound for Europe. Foreign Minister Angelino Alfano announced a €200 million fund to that effect. Mr. Alfano says Libya, Tunisia and Niger are the three strategic partners for the fund, but Nigeria, Senegal, Egypt and Ethiopia could be future partners. So let's check with the oil market right now, with the news that the U.S. oil rig count is getting higher and oil prices are getting a little bit of a tapering. OPEC and other oil producers are holding the line on output costs, helping support prices above $50 a barrel. So let's get a sense of some of the latest conversations regarding the Saudi's oil minister saying he supports Donald Trump's policy on oil. Adim Okwesa is a research analyst with a financial derivatives company. Adim, good afternoon. Thanks for coming through on the program on Skype.
Good afternoon.
Yes, thank you. When the Saudi oil minister says he's pleased with the U.S. Donald Trump, U.S. President Donald Trump, that a more fossil fuel-oriented energy policy will be good, and he's concerned about the promise to pursue energy independence. What do you make of this statement?
Well, I'll take this comment with the pinch of salt. For one, I think Saudi Arabia, with the fact that President Trump is pursuing a pro-oil and gas stance, considering that his predecessor, President Obama, introduced environmental laws which to scale down on oil and gas drilling. And we know that Saudi Arabia is still very dependent on oil and gas, and to want to ensure that oil is still a dominant source of energy. But on the other hand, I think we know that the increase in oil shale production was what instigated the crash in oil prices from over $100 in 2014. And I don't think Saudi Arabia will want that to happen again. And if President Trump pursues wants to achieve energy independence, that means higher shale oil and gas production, and that will be bad for oil prices. So I think he just made that statement to be diplomatic, and he didn't want to be controversial.
Yes, because Saudi Arabia and Saudi Arabia and US are very close allies when it comes to oil. So do you see the Saudi Arabia keeping that relationship, as it were, with that statement?
Yes, I think they are very close allies. He said Saudi Arabia is a very key. Saudi and Israel are very key allies to the US. So I don't think they want to avoid to instigate any controversies, considering that President Trump has already made some controversial statements with other foreign nations. So I think Saudi Arabia is just keeping to itself and staying on its own lane.
So what do you think other oil major producing countries should make of this relationship? It will benefit everyone in the long run, isn't it?
Yes, good Saudi and US relationship will benefit everybody. But I think what this developing story, that this sense of rising tension between Iran and the US, considering that the US National Security Advisor came out yesterday and said that the US is keeping Iran on notice in response to Iran testing ballistic missiles recently. I think that raises the possibility of the US reimposing sanctions on Iran, and that would limit their exports. That would limit oil production. It's a double-edged sword, isn't it? It would be one good news on one hand, because that could push prices higher. On the other hand, well, that could dislocate the entire agreement of last November to cut back on output, isn't it? Yes, indeed, exactly. That's right.
Yes. So where does this leave countries like Nigeria in this conversation?
Well, for Nigeria, if let's say, Iran, if sanctions are imposed on Iran, that can take oil prices to as high as 60 or 70, and that would be excellent news for Nigeria. So one doesn't want any war or anything to escalate in the Middle East, but at the same time, one wants, as a Nigerian, one wants high oil prices, which to benefit the oil economy, so the economy can start recovering.
Adim, you're finding it very difficult there to explain yourself. Which one are you in love with? You don't want war, but at the same time, we want oil prices to...
No one wants war. No one wants war. Everybody's a pacifist, I believe. So.
We don't want anyone testing ballistic missiles. The world needs peace, not war. But at the same time, we need oil prices at certain levels to make sure that look at the budget deficit for many countries around the world is becoming like a gangrene, warming around because everybody's blaming oil prices anyway.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. The fall in commodity prices hurts a lot of countries, especially sub-Saharan African countries. And although oil prices have ticked up, other commodity prices are also ticking up, but they're still very well below what the peak in 2014, 2013. And it doesn't look like we're going to get back there anytime soon. So
okay,
that's the situation we face today.
Okay, let's hope someone caused some little trouble in the room, not a major one. Then oil prices just move on. Maybe that will be Iran. But let's have it there for today. Adim Okwueze from Financial Derivatives Company, a research analyst. Thank you for your time. Let's come back to West Africa, where Ghana's Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta says the new government has inherited a budget deficit closer to double digits as a percentage of its GDP than the 5% targeted for 2016 by the previous government. The issue is politically sensitive because Ghana is following a 3-year, $980 million IMF program aimed at stabilizing the economy after the deficit ballooned during the previous election year of 2012. Now the IMF and the government of former President John Mahama said during 2016 they would respect budgetary targets, although ahead of last December election, ministers said the deficit might stand at 7% of the GDP. A deficit higher than that target will put more pressure on the new President Nana Akufo-Addo's government to reduce the amount it can spend on funding programs for job creation and poverty reduction. And that's all for today. We thank you for watching. Live from Lagos, I am Bosun Amapaya. I'll see you again.